Welcome to the info session for the Yoga and Wellness Retreat this year in August. I have to remind myself that not all of you may know about it. I'm going to take my time today and I'm going to tell you all about it. And then I'm going to just answer. People might come in the next hour and pop in. And when they do, I'll stop and answer their questions. Or if they're an attendee, I'll have them talk. I don't know who might be coming. Maybe nobody. Maybe it's just me. But I want to answer all the questions that you might be having. I am so excited for this year, and I want to tell you why. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm Jen Kagan. I am a sign language interpreter. I've been doing this work for over 25, close to 30 years. I am also certified Iyengar yoga instructor and Ayurveda health coach and some other certifications. But I put my two worlds together during COVID when I shut down my yoga studio and dedicated myself to helping interpreters feel better in their bodies and minds. It's grown, it's evolved from there because of what I found out that I found more of how I could serve interpreters. The asana, the yoga practice is so powerful emotionally, mentally, physically, on all these levels. And a lot of us, my experience was as a young interpreter, I was looking for a way to support myself physically. I was already feeling the strain. I think I was like 1 year in, strain on my body for sure. That's where my attention was, on my wrist, on my elbow. I was doing every kind of body work you could imagine. You name it, I did it. I was a very physical person. Prior to that, I was riding my bike all the time, lived in San Francisco. So doing things with my body in an active way was where I went to. And my mom growing up did yoga, but I had it in my zeitgeist, but it was never something I had done. So I looked around, I did lots of different kinds of yoga. And at first, the practice I did was intense. And so I would just like be so wiped out at the end. It felt like a relief from all the tension and all the emotional load. But then I moved to New York City, and that's a pretty intense place to live. And my needs changed a little bit. Well, cut to, I did get injured in a class where it was just guiding. And this was in the days when there was less kind of styles and methods around. So even less choice than now. And this is important because as interpreters, our bodies we have overuse in our wrists, we have overuse in our shoulders. We have to be considerate to these areas. So as a result, I was just following along in class and ripped my rotator cuff. And you can imagine, well, one, it was painful. And it also kind of took me out of work for a while. It was really hard. And I think I just barreled through it. I was young. I just barreled through it. I did PT. It didn't stop my search for yoga, which was I think the a part of me. Let me just make sure you can hear me on the mic. Yeah. I think part of that was my inner wisdom, something much smarter than me. I eventually landed in a practice of yoga that was much more progressive, sequential. I felt it wasn't just following along. I learned how to do things. I learned about myself. I learned my knees turned in, and that was causing a problem in a lot of poses. I found out I was really flexible in some areas of my lower back, and I was just using that. My shoulders were super tight from the work I did, and I wasn't opening the shoulders. I could do the poses because I could rely on areas that were more flexible. And this practice created balance and evenness in my body. And then eventually, I started to feel the emotional benefits, the stability, the peace of mind, the tranquility. In the other classes I went to, I kind of left class kind of floating. Like I'd get worried, like would I cross this? I had to look both ways before I crossed a busy New York street. Whereas when I started Iyengar yoga, and Iyengar is simply the last name of the teacher or it is just Hatha yoga, right? He doesn't say it's his, but it's the way he teaches, and it's a very popular name in India, sort of like Smith. So it's a very common last name, but that's the last name, Iyengar Yoga. And what I felt afterwards was a solidity, a calmness, a tranquility, a stability. Oh, that's my dog. A groundedness. And that became so important to me. And I don't even know if I was conscious of it mentally, but certainly physically, I felt it. So that's my story. I then I hope hopefully you can't hear her barking. Sometimes Zoom cuts it out. I really hope so. Um, I went down the teacher path, which in Iyengar yoga is extremely challenging, rigorous. I used to think my certification for interpreting was really hard. It nothing like my yoga teaching certificate. Not only because I've taken 5 tests now. The you just keep going up and up the certification ladder, but it's really rigorous. So, but I believed in that rigor. I believed I wanted a method that had roots, had um, boots in the ground, wasn't just some flim flam made up thing. And I think that's really important for interpreters because the particular demands that are on our body and the yoga that's out there. And maybe some of you are doing it and enjoying it and having a good time. That's great. But when you're just kind of following along, it's very different than learning. It's kind of you're doing and doing and doing. And as interpreters, I believe we need something that helps us not just do more, but actually ground and steady our minds and provide a place for us to let go. Not in the sense that I described, where I would just be exhausted. That was that worked for a while, but that's not the same as truly learning how to let go and connect and deeply relax. And that is what this practice of yoga has given me. Um, on a very practical level, in a lot of classes, you just go in, you just follow along. There's very little adaptation, or maybe there's like, hey, if you need blocks, use blocks, and you're not sure if you need them. Well, the blocks, the belts, the blankets, they all come from Iyengar Yoga. And it was his really genius to try to, he saw students that either couldn't do or needed more support so they could be in the poses longer, or he started applying these poses that are really energetically powerful in um I was going to say medicinal ways. My dog is barking, driving me crazy, and I just want to yell at her. Give me 1 second, I am going to yell at her. Okay, let's see if that works. um what was I saying? The props came out of the need to help people, not just if you can't do, but they are very helpful for us just in terms of, say, weight bearing. It to go into immediately go into weight bearing on our wrists, on our shoulders, on our hands is not that great for everybody, especially if we haven't learned to use our legs or our abdomen. And so just simply raising the hands up until you develop the other attributes so that weight bearing poses become uh, accessible. Like learning a language, which you can all relate to, I'm sure many of you can relate to. You don't jump into level 4, you start at level 1. You start with some simple nouns. Then you start with more complex sentence structures. It's the same way with learning yoga. And in this day and age, we've really lost sight of the fact that it is something that is to be learned, not just something to be done. Okay. All right. So then what happened was I had this crazy idea. I had taught a lot of yoga retreats. I live in Mexico and I had had a lot of retreats here with my other students. I've been teaching for 20 years. So I've had lots of students come in and out of my studio, and we've had lots of wonderful retreats. And I was like, I've been to lots of interpreter conventions and workshops and all that kind of thing. And I just had this dream, this idea of what I wanted to create, the space, the energy, a place for interpreters to come and take off their work mask and just connect to themselves. And I've seen other yoga slash interpreter retreats where you're also learning how to interpret. And I don't want any of that. I want the interpreter mind to be away so that you can actually feel and experience the practice of yoga. A lot of us know and learn a lot of things because we're so lucky to be in all these different areas. I think I could have like, I don't know, 3 extra undergraduate degrees and a couple master degrees for all the classes that I've interpreted. But that doesn't mean I processed and did the work, right? I learned a lot for sure. And it's made me someone who can go to I'm great at cocktail parties because I know a little bit about a lot of things and not a lot about, not a little, but anyways, I know a little bit about a lot of things. And a lot of our learning comes through someone else, through the client. Oh yeah, I heard someone say, I'll talk about Ayurveda in a minute, but it's a sister science of yoga. Oh yeah, I've learned a lot about Ayurveda because I interpreted for this deaf student. Yes, that is true. You do learn a lot, and you could even learn more based on how much you take it on. But it's very, very different when you are experiencing it for yourself, and that's what I wanted. And I didn't want a space where anybody felt that urge to help or interpret or even think about another other person's needs. It's just you. It's the quietness, it's turning off the distraction, it's the regularity of the schedule, it's the yoga practice, it's all the other things that we do, which I will go into on a retreat. I don't like the sign retreat. I know I'm not the one who gets to decide if it's a sign or not, but it's not an escape. It is a retreat. Like, and that's actually what a deaf friend, because I was describing to her and she was like, no, it's like this. And that's really what it is. I hope that didn't, if you could see that. Yeah, you could see my hands. And that's what I wanted to create. And I also wanted to create an experience that it wasn't just a one-time experience and then you just go back to what you've done before. We do that. Our life goes, and then we go away for a weekend, a break, a vacation, and it's great, but we're running around and we're seeing things and we're learning. That's wonderful. I love being a tourist and traveling, I should say. I love traveling. And then we come back and life goes on. This is transformation. This is coming and leaving a different person or a different, not say different person. No, the retreat, because it's this, it's like you're uncovering who you really are. So all that other stuff that we carry around, we can let it go and really, really tap into who you are, your own voice, your own light. It was an idea. I wasn't sure it was going to work. There was one other thing I wanted to say about the idea of it. Of course, it's in a beautiful place. Transformation, and that you would go home with a plan. So enough of the retreat would spill into your home and your life. So every year, this is the 4th year, every year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's changed a little bit each year as I've changed the theme or it's changed its location. And this year is better than before. Now, let me just address one thing, is that this retreat is in English. I do teach and have taught, I think it's 2 retreats here in Mexico in sign language. One was mixed, both. That was crazy making for me, like English and Spanish and sign language. And why I did that, I don't know, but you learn from your mistakes, right? Or you learn from your experiences. And it's visual, it's auditory and visual. And even though the Iyengar method is so beautifully conducive to a visual learner, the way we teach, the process we teach, I won't go too deep into that, but just the way you teach. So rather than following along, Simon says, you really get an opportunity to watch and then do, and then watch and do and learn and do and build that up. And then the way the classes are sequenced, that there's like a theme that goes through the class so that by the end, you really learned the action or the theme or the goal of that class because you've repeated it over and over. So even though, and I did teach for many years, I taught the only class in ASL in New York City at the Iyengar Institute. It's the only one that I know of. think there's a woman in, we spoke a while ago. She's in the one of the Scandinavian countries. I can't remember which one right now. Lise, I think her name is. She was teaching Iyengar yoga in their sign language there, but that was the only one I know. And the way I taught, I learned so much. I had the most amazing students, the most amazing students. And just, okay. I'm just realizing the captions weren't on. I did want them to be on for this. So maybe I'll have to do this again. So the way I teach visually is different than the way I teach auditorially. The way I learned to teach with deaf students has influenced and improved how I teach hearing students. That's for sure. And when I started teaching at the Institute in New York City, there weren't any active teachers, deaf teachers teaching yoga at that time. Certainly not the method that I teach. So, and then I had a few retreats here, as I mentioned. And then I started working with interpreters. And since those years at the Institute, there have been a lot more deaf teachers that have come on the scene that have online presence and offer all sorts of stuff. And so to me, this retreat for interpreters is in English. I am inviting actually interpreters from all over the world can come for sure. And I even think a lot of the themes that we face, spoken interpreters also do. So in the future, I'd be open to that as well. But right now it's hearing sign language interpreters. And I'm hoping, since I live in Mexico, that some of the interpreters from Mexico will join us one year. I'm working on that, but it is in English. And then I would teach a retreat in ASL in a visual format. That would be separate. I did that in the Catskills a few years ago. Okay, so I hope that clarifies that issue. Because now I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about this before I talked about that, and now I don't remember what I was going to talk about. That I wanted to create, that we have expanded and we've grown over the years, and it has changed. And this year, I'm so excited because every year I watch, I see, I look, I observe, I evaluate myself, I evaluate the experience, I evaluate the location. So let's start with location. So we are finally at, you can see behind me is one of their yoga studios. And I will switch that background a little bit because I have some other pictures. It is one of the most, it is the most highly sought after and the longest running yoga retreat center in Mexico. They know what they're doing. And this makes a difference in your experience. It does. Not only does it make my life easier as a retreat leader, but it makes the students' experience different because they know what they're doing, because it's a pure retreat experience. Fully equipped yoga studios. None of this might matter to you, but let me tell you how important it is. There's a couple studios, there's a couple different groups that are there, fully equipped with everything that we need. Why is that important? One, I can teach completely to everybody, to every level. There's no limitation. That means if you feel like, oh, I'm scared to go and I don't know if I know enough and da 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 da, there's a couple ways I've got you covered if you're brand new. And there's a couple ways I've got you covered if you're more experienced. We're all going to be pretty much brand new unless you've been studying with me for a while. Now, that's the other part of this retreat that is so amazing. And that is, I really want you to have the opportunity to transform. So it's 7 days. This means you're not arriving and finally getting settled in and then you have to go. That's number one, 7 full days, which gives us lots of time to luxuriate, to take You can do excursions. We're on the water, so there's water excursions. There's all sorts of things. Um, and also, this is what's so exciting. The Interpreter Wellness membership, you might know about it. I have two programs that serve interpreters. One is a premier one-on-one coaching program, which is a full whole person, personalized, tailored program that includes yoga and Ayurveda and thought work and somatic work. It's all about helping you achieve the goals that you deserve physically, mentally, energetically, and working through obstacles that have stopped you from getting there to this day. A lot of people start working with me when they're at a crossroads. It's either now or never. Some people have started at the beginning of their career. I need to set up some really good habits now. And the Interpreter Wellness membership is a group membership. So there's group classes, live classes on Zoom. This is not like turning on a YouTube video, although I keep all the libraries recorded. So you have access to an incredible library of resources, but it's live classes where I can see you, I can help you, I can direct you, I can guide you. And then we have the support of each other, right? Sometimes having others around you helps you show up, helps you try a little bit harder, it helps you maybe chill out a little bit more, depending on your personality. And when you sign up for the retreat, you automatically get the Interpreter Wellness membership. And in addition to what I just mentioned, courses, video library, 2 classes per week, we also meet once a month for a wellness gathering. So we get to know each other. So one of the concerns people have is, what if I don't know any yoga? Problem solved. You start now. By the time you arrive, you have a really nice foundation and you don't arrive with that nervousness, with that anxiety, with the not sure if you're going to be able to keep up kind of feeling. And the other question is, and this is a touchy one, some of us are a little bit nervous about going into groups of interpreters. It's a sad reality that sometimes our interpreter gatherings and meetings and conventions are not the most fun, pleasant, and they can be traumatic to some folks. So I've gotten that question, like, who's going, right? And one way we protect ourselves is just not to participate. Well, I think there's a couple reasons why my retreats don't have that vibe. One, I don't want it. Two, I'm not interested in it at all. It's a non-judgmental space. Three, we're not working. We're not talking about working. We're not looking at each other's skills. We're not judging where you work. None of that. You are there to connect yourself. And we're all there because we want to start feeling better. We want to start being more present in our own bodies and our lives. We want to do things differently. We're interested in living living not just, yes, we're interested in feeling better, restoring our body. We're interested in connection. We're interested in growth. I think that's what I'll say, is interested in growing. That's so when we meet on these gatherings once a month, we get to know each other. So when you arrive in August, it's like, hey, oh my God, there's Christina, there's Angela, there's so-and-so. Just want to make sure nobody's trying to get in. Okay. And so that solves that problem. On the retreat, I absolutely hold the space for some people want to be super social and connected, and others need the time to sort of to be on their own and to take that time and that quietness. Everything is respected. Nobody is forcing you to do anything at all. So I've had all levels of all sort of experiences and personalities of people. When you start now, whenever you sign up for the retreat, it starts. And when you start the practice now, not only does it prepare you, it's like if you were going to go on a language immersion and you didn't know any of the language, but they offered you 4 months before the retreat for the immersion, some basic language introduction. No brainer. You would do that. Why don't we think the same thing about putting our bodies into a situation where you're going to be doing yoga at least 2 to 3 to 4 hours every day, depending on your level, depending on how I that speaks to the structure of the class and the structure of the day. And there's, we're going to have multi levels of people. That's my job, to make sure that you're challenged and you're also allowed to work at the state level that you're at. So why do we think we can just, and I think sometimes it is because we as interpreters, we're thrown into a job, we have no previous information, we are, and we just wing it, we make it happen. We're so used to just jumping in the deep end and swimming. And then we get out and we're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Oh my God, I can't feel my toes. Oh my God, that water was so cold. But everybody is okay. Saved everybody and everybody's okay. I don't want that experience. I don't want you to arrive at your wits' end, say with stress. You're like, stress, 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 stress. And oh my God, when I go away for 7 days, then everything's going to calm down. And then you arrive and you're like, ah. No, you are going to come already with a little foundation. And then you're going to build on that foundation once you're on the retreat. Some of you will have a bigger foundation because you're going to participate more and you're going to practice more and you're going to really take this on. And then when you get to the retreat, you get to learn even more. I've been doing this for 25 years. I can do the same pose every day, and every day I learn something a little bit different about that pose. It's the beauty of yoga. It's not getting there, it's the process. But to get to Mexico and to be in classes that amount of time, you need preparation, period. You need, yoga's powerful physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and you need to prepare yourself for that. And why? Why put this all off? Why not have a sense of connection to yourself? Why not have a sense of calm before August? Why not learn a way to connect with your breath and your body? Why not? And it's such a great goal to work towards. The other thing is, you may not know me and how I teach, or you've never done Iyengar yoga, or you have and you weren't sure about it. Well, this gives you the time to get used to my teaching, my style. I get to learn you. So when you arrive, I've already got a plan for you. I know what I want to help you with. I know a little bit about your personality and how I teach, how I can calibrate myself to teach you in the best way possible. I mean, it makes total sense, doesn't it? It makes total sense. And this is why I'm so super excited for this retreat. Now, it's not for everybody. And the people that come are all the right people. I am super excited for this group. I just registered 2 friends. They're coming together to celebrate their friendship. They live on far away from each other. They're coming together to celebrate their friendship and their birthdays together. And my heart just bloomed when one of them was describing why she wanted to go on this retreat, and I was like, that's exactly, everything she said was exactly why I created this. She's young, she's beginning of her career, and she's starting to feel overwhelmed and burnt out and low energy, and she loves what she does and she wants to find that passion again. And I'm going to teach her how. And she's starting now. Now, the structure of the day there is, in general, 2-hour morning class, brunch, you get a break, and then we have an afternoon class, and then you have your evening meal. And there's a morning tea and breakfast as well, not a heavy breakfast, all farm to table. And the 2-hour classes are basically asana, but because we're going to be multi-levels, I have a way that I can teach to where everybody is. And that means we're all maybe doing the same thing, but in different ways. We're all learning the same action, but in different ways. Someone's learning how to stand on their head. Someone is learning to do downward facing dog, both inverted poses, but different stages. So, and also depending on physical level, there's an opportunity for me to structure it. We'll see what happens. Where maybe an hour and a half in, there will be an ending, and then those who want to continue working on the more advanced poses, or I think they're ready to do that, then they continue on for the 2 hours. In addition, every year is different, but we do we do some self-reflective practices, which all are guided to help you evaluate and evaluate what's going on in your life right now, where you want to go, what you want to change, and how to change that. So I'm going to give you a specific example. So one exercise we did was about just seeing how much time you're doing the things that you love to do during your week. If you're only doing the things that you have to and you should do, it's going to run your battery down. And one of the attendees was just sort of like super teary at the end of this practice, this reflective exercise, because she recognized on paper now, oh my God, that's why I'm so tired. From that awareness, she can make changes, and she has huge changes in her life. And she comes back every year, and I see her body, her face, her energy change. And I cannot wait for her to be back this year, because I have a plan for her. She's going to be ready because she practices during the year. She continues her own practice because she learned it the first year and she keeps practicing. Then she learned the second year and she added to it. And then she's learning the third year and she's adding to it. And because of that progression, I can teach her more. So sometimes we just have a big dance party. Oh, I shouldn't have told you that. It's always a surprise. But this year I have some ideas. One year I taught a lot about Ayurveda and how to incorporate Ayurveda practices to help you live more in alignment, more in balance with nature and your own constitution, so that you have less stress in your life. But we'll see what I teach this year. And it really will also be influenced by these gatherings that we get together. I get to know you. I get to find out what is it that where are you? What are you struggling with? And then I know what to bring to help you. I just learned a ritual today that we're going to do, which is going to be amazing. And it's all about a practice of how to let go of that. We take on a lot. Some days are really heavy, some days are really light, some days you're full of energy, and some days you're just like heavy with what you're carrying, and a practice to sort of lighten your load. So those are the main questions. Some of the other questions I get are really technical about, so I'm going to go into those really quickly. There are ocean view rooms, single or shared. And then there's guest rooms that are single. They're smaller and they have a view of the garden. There's some that are still available. And they run from, the prices run from $2,900 to $3,750, depending on whether you're single, whether you're sharing. That's 7 days. That's all your accommodation. That's all your meals. That's all the classes of the retreat. That's a full interpreter wellness membership. Now, if you want to work with me one-on-one, which is super powerful, and the interpreters that work with me one-on-one, really, I see such changes happen. And I think it's personalized, it's tailorized. You get someone who understands you, listens to you. That you get $1,000 off my coaching program when you sign up for the retreat. So it's like such an amazing deal. Now, so that would be someone who's like, you know what, this is my year. I'm going head first in. And I wanted to make that so tantalizing for you. If you're not sure which one, I'm gonna at wherever I post this, there'll be a link to the website, and basically we set up a call, or you fill out an application form, and then we talk, we find out what's best for you, and we get you going. It is time to sign up now. There's a friend discount. So if you sign up with a friend, which is makes your accommodation cheaper, makes your experience fun because you get to come with a buddy. That's an option. I want to make sure that you have that option. You get CEUs for the so the hours are I think it comes to I don't have the number in my head, but basically 2 hours every day, and then figure out CEUs for that, right? So you'll get those are included in your registration. So there's so much there. All you have to do is say, yes, I'm in, and you do it. A lot of interpreters have had their companies or agencies pay portion. I guess there's a, whether it comes out of their professional development or comes out of health and wellness, I'm not sure, but that's an option. But it's a tax write-off, you get CEUs. Travel is easy to the Puerto Vallarta International Airport, and then you take a van taxi. This part's not included, but we will as a group come together and share. I'll help organize an hour and 20-minute ride to the center, which is called Mar de Jade. It's in a town in the state of Nayarit called Chacala, Chacala, if you want to look that out on the map. But it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous place. So this is for those that are want that adventure, want that experience, want to transform. Oh, I mean, it's just it's going to be so great this year. And I'm going to, let's see, I wanted to switch out. I wonder if I can. Just to show you, yeah. This is an image from last year of us, and this is Mar de Jade. They have a pool, and it's on the beach. I think I've answered most questions. If you have more, just schedule a call with me. That's the best way. Or you can fill out the form and then we'll schedule a call. It's always nice for me to meet who wants to come. I like to feel, every year I've created a really great group, a good, it's really important to me. The vibe of the group is super important. Now, if you're on the fence, you're not sure, but Thrive sounds really interesting, the membership sounds interesting, and you want to know more about those, by all means, reach out to me and let's talk about it. There are testimonials on the YouTube page. I'll link all these wherever I post this thing. I'll link them all in the, cancel this. And I should have had that off probably the whole time. I'll link that below wherever I post this. And it's really cool to listen to why interpreters come, why they keep coming back, what their experience was. So I'll link those in there as well. Nobody was able to come today. That's okay. People are super busy. But hey, if you are interested and you're like, I want to talk to someone who went before, reach out. I can put you in touch with them. Okay. So if this has resonated at all, like, I don't even like the word resonated. If you're like listening to the whole experience and you're like, if you're like the other interpreters who are coming who said, oh my God, I saw this and I was like, that is for me. There's nothing like this in our profession. So if you've seen something else posted, another yoga or interpreting for yoga, I've seen, I'm gonna say hands down, there's nothing like this experience out there. And I am actively, intentionally creating a space for you to connect yourself, for us to connect to each other as a community in a supportive, growth-minded way. All right. I hope I've answered all your questions. If you have more, before I sign off, I'm just going to quickly look over into the Facebook group to see if anything popped up, because there might be some questions. Let's see, no questions there. Okay. I just want to make sure that I answer any questions. I would say, though, if
this is a cell phone case with a
don't want that. We don't want that talking. If this is talking to you, if this is calling to you, my recommendation is listen to that. In my personal experience, when I've been provided or offered opportunities and I made it happen, I never regretted it. And I'm not someone like that. I usually am like, oh, I don't know, I can't, no. But you can figure it out. Everything is figure outable. A matter of fact, I had someone come the first year who didn't have a passport, and she expedited it and got it. I think it was like 3 days before she flew. And she didn't even know how she was going to get off work. She figured it out and she made it happen. So you can too. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your interest. And I hope you listen to that voice and you join us this year.